Hello everybody, this is Reviews and More, back with a quick Harbor Freight review item. So this is the Harbor Freight 4.5 pound wood chopping axe. It is $30 from Harbor Freight as of right now in early January 2024. It has a steel head, it is carbon steel. The head itself is 4.5 pounds, the total length 35 inches, and as a forewarning, I am not an expert on axes or woodworking or anything else. This is just my cursory review of issues I had early on that I think I may have resolved. So right there, if you look at the head of the axe, you will notice that there's a shim in it, as well as two metal circle shims that are just used to push the wood out and give it a tight fitting. And you see pointing right there to something that looks like not a shim but wood putty. And that was my concern, and you're probably going, hey, why'd you buy it if it was like that? I couldn't see it because it had been wrapped in some basically some wax paper with some oil on it to prevent rust. So I bought it from Harbor Freight, not worrying about it because, again, cheap tools, and I wasn't really worried about it. But when I got it home and I took about 10 swings on it, it gave me about 1/8 of an inch of play, and after about 30 minutes of using it, it had about 1/4 inch of play. Now each time I could knock it back down and kind of take care of it, but I was a little worried. And to make sure it wasn't just like a one-off, or maybe this is something they always do, having that wood putty in there, I went and got my little same basic brand hickory handle hatchet, and you'll notice here they have two shims in it just like on the axe, and that lighter color there, that's not wood putty, that's a change in the color of the wood. It has a wood shim in there in the middle, you can see the lines, and then it also has the two metal shims in there, although one is a bit off center. So they don't put wood putty in all their stuff, so I was concerned that that wood putty being in there was causing the looseness or might cause future looseness. So the one thing I did what I hate doing with anything that's like uncovered or unpainted steel. I had to stick it into a bucket of water to try to soak it in there. I thought maybe what had happened was this is a more expensive axe they have up at Harbor Freight, and maybe that was the reason why it maybe just sat for a long time, and as a result had dried out a little bit. So I soaked it overnight. The next morning had all the surface rust on it. I got all that off of there with some steel wool and a little, basically what amounts to a Brillo pad, just to get it off of there and take care of it. And now I'm taking it outside. I do about 20 swings on it just to see if there's any play in it, because it really only took about 10 swings before I took a look at it the first time I used it. And I gave this thing a full overnight to soak, and then I got it out of the water, cleaned it up a little bit, and let it dry out for a full 25 hours. And this is the result. I think I might have fixed it. My next step is really just ask experts. Anybody's got an opinion on here. I'm thinking I might do some linseed oil on it, just to like kind of soak the head in some linseed oil just on the top, just to let kind of oil soak into it, and then maybe like just keep it that way, because I've heard that works. I've also heard everything from like antifreeze, other weird things to help kind of just take care of the swelling and make it so it will swell properly without shrinking out the way if you use water, the water evaporates and then it gets looser than it was the first time, which I don't want to have happen. So that's all in all. I think I might have fixed it and taken care of it, because after running through it 20 swings, it didn't play at all, whereas the day before, or sorry, 2 days before, it had repeatedly would just constantly have to be re-slammed against something and just kind of knocked back down over and over and over again. Other than that, it's a great axe. I had to sharpen it like crazy. On the heel of the axe blade, it was almost like it had been ground down flat, so I had to go with a bastard file and like take care of that by hand. But other than that, it held the sharpness pretty well after about an hour of chopping that I did that one day where it was falling off. But again, it was going from like 1/8 of an inch of play towards the end of the session of chopping the wood to being about 1/4 inch. And at that point, you're kind of like, yeah, there might be a safety issue there I got to deal with. So hopefully the soaking took care of it, and you'll notice here after 20 or so swings and after my camera comes into focus, it does in fact have a lot more solid kind of grip to it. There's no real play there. It's perfectly flat just like it was before. So I think that kind of took care of it. But thank God it's got a lifetime warranty through Harbor Freight. So if it does start getting loose again, I'm just going to take it and replace it and try to pick out one that doesn't have that wood putty in the top, because I still kind of think that might be a problem in the future. But we'll see after it sits for a month or two and then I have to use it again. Maybe I'll do an update video. But $30, I think it's a good product, but it did have that one concern, and you guys might have the same issue. Maybe if you buy one, you might want to check it out and make sure either that doesn't have that wood putty in there, or maybe preemptively soak it in something to help it swell up and kind of avoid the drying out that may have happened while it was just sitting on a shelf. Other than that, I think it's going to be worthwhile, especially if I can just take it into Harbor Freight whenever I want to replace it when I need to. But overall, really happy with the product, and only real complaint was that wood putty and the fact that it came dull as all get out, especially on the heel of the axe blade, which was exceptionally dull, and it took a while to get that sharpened up. But for $30, you can't beat it.